What if an average day for you was waking up with cuts and bruises all over your body from something otherworldly like this? Well, this is exactly what's happening to Lexi and her family right now, and it all started after Lexi's ex-best friend passed away. Now, Lexi's ex-best friend had a love interest in her, and this was not reciprocated. And because of this, we'll call him Jared. Jared would go on a tailspin of chaotic behavior and abusive behavior towards her. Jared's last words to Lexi, well, no one will ever love you like I do, and he would live up to this promise, especially after he passed away. After this, every single person that Lexi dated would end up in a mental institution. But that's not even the craziest part. The craziest part is that he had a serpent tattoo on his body. And this is crucial for you to remember because it plays a huge part in Lexi's suffering and the instances that I'm about to talk to you about. Some odd years after Jared passed away, Lexi would meet Tristan and they would fall in love, and then they would run a business together. It was a bar. One day, Lexi and Tristan decide that they want to go to the Zach Bagans Museum. Now, this was just out of a whim, so they went to Vegas and they visited the museum. Little did they know that this would be one of the worst decisions they have ever made. Immediately after walking into the museum, Lexi's ankles start to itch, and she tells Tristan this, and Tristan is like, well, maybe it's just an allergic reaction, maybe it's just your ankles just itch. And so they kind of brush it off because what else are they going to do? Now, the first room that they go into, the tour guide asks, does anyone have $1? And Lexi never carried cash on her, but in this instance, she just happened to have $1 sticking out of her purse. So she says, I do, and she hands it to the tour guide. So then the tour guide takes that dollar and she puts it into this fortune telling machine. She sticks it in and a card pops out. And out on the card was a picture of the devil, and it said, beware of the stairs. So they're like, okay, maybe this is just like part of the show, right? So they go into the next room, and the next room is the Charles Manson room. And in this room are like drawings that he had done in prison, which they didn't know that he had done that. So they thought this was really interesting, and there were other things in there from him. So it was just a whole room filled with stuff about Charles Manson. Lexi kind of zones out in this room, and she's standing in front of one of the pictures, and she's talking to Tristan, and she's like, babe, this is really interesting. Like, I didn't know that he did all of this stuff. When the next thing she knows, Tristan walks over to her and says, hey, babe, are you coming? And she looks at him and she's like, wait, where did you come from? And he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, I was just talking to you. You were just standing right behind me. And he was like, no, I wasn't. And she's like, yes, you were. I was just talking to you. It wasn't him. So the next room that they go into is called the Devil's Staircase. Funny enough, they get into that room and there's a spirit box in there, and the spirit box just starts spitting out words randomly, but not until Lexi walks in. And as soon as she walked in, the spirit box starts saying, bitch, die, die, bitch, yellow dress, bitch. Now, mind you, she was wearing an orange dress, and she was the only woman in the room wearing a dress at all. So this really freaked her, Tristan out, and everybody else out. Now, the next room that they go into is called the Haunted Peggy Doll Room. Now, in this room, you have to say hello and goodbye to the doll. And there is a spirit box in this room. The spirit box did not say anything the entire time that they were in this room until they were about to leave. Now, because they had to say hi and bye, Lexi was not comfortable with this, but she did it anyways. She says bye to the doll before she starts to walk out, and the doll, for the first time, says,
bye, orange dress.
At this point, everybody is freaked out in the room. No one wants to be around them. No one on the tour wants to be around them, including the tour guide, who actually switched tour guides in the middle of the tour because they did not want to be around Tristan and Lexi. After this, Tristan and Lexi decide that they're going to go. They're going to go to a hookah bar. So they go to the hookah bar and they're just relaxing when she says, my back is burning. Lexi's like, my back hurts really bad. So Tristan pulls up Lexi's shirt and sees this. Scratches on her back. Now, they kind of had enough at this point, and so they decide that they're going to go back to their hotel room. But Lexi starts acting really weird in the hotel room, like almost like she's possessed or something. And Tristan just kind of tries to ignore it because he does not want to feed this energy, and they go to sleep. The next morning, they wake up to find something horrifying. Lexi gets out of bed, and she looks at the bed where she was sleeping on, and where she was laying, there is a burn mark on the bed. Then she looks at her fingernails and her toenails, and they are black, like charcoal black. She cannot for the life of her figure out where this is from. And then she starts noticing boils on her body, and this is what those boils looked like. Then everything that she touches starts to melt a little bit. And they said they still have pictures of this. They have to find the pictures. They're going to send them to me. And if you guys want them, drop them in the comments. But After this, they've had enough. They're like, we need to go get help. We need to go to a shaman or something. So they go to a shaman in the area. There's a store in the area with a shaman. As soon as they pull up and open their car doors to get out, they start walking towards the store and they see the shaman locking the door. They did not want them to come inside of that store. Well, somehow they eventually got the shaman to open the door, and the shaman gives her a bottle of water. That's the first thing that she does. She takes a sip of it and immediately her body just starts burning and the boils get worse. And she's like, I do not want this water. And the shaman kind of looks like, okay, well, we can only assume what was in that water. They didn't verify it, but holy water, I'm assuming. So the shaman is like, okay, you know what? I can't help you right now. I'm going to take you next door to the psychic. So they take them next door to the psychic, and this is where it gets terrifying. So the psychic starts to burn white and black candles for them to have a safe trip home, because that's really what they wanted, was a safe trip home. And then she reveals something to her. She says, you have a serpent wrapped around your entire body, and it is draining the energy from you. Serpent? Do you guys remember the tattoo? This really scares Lexi, but all they can do is have the psychic give them some stuff to protect themselves when they get home. So they bring that stuff home, and when they get home, they kind of try to act like nothing happened. They have kids that they have to look after, and they don't want their kids to know how afraid they are. Unfortunately, the children would suffer immensely from this as well going forward. So after they get home for a little bit, other injuries start to present themselves on Lexi, except for this injury spells out a name. It spells out the name Maya. And this, if you look really closely, you can see in the picture where it spells that name. Now, I asked Tristan and Lexi if they have any idea who Maya is, and they have absolutely zero idea who she is. Oh, remember the bar that I told you that they own together? So for some reason, this bar, the activity there just spikes up like crazy. When they're watching the cameras, they're seeing orbs flying left and right in the cameras. And then at one point, Tristan is in the lounge alone and he feels something behind him. He walks into the lounge and goes into the bathroom. He shuts the door. He comes back out. As soon as he comes back out, you see an orb fly out of the bathroom. He shuts the door, walks away, and then you see the shadow figure just right where the door is. And this is a picture of that shadow figure. Terrifying. This is a screenshot, guys. I have the actual footage. If you want to see it, drop it in the comments. Now, what is so scary about this shadow creature is I have personally seen a picture of Jared. And you guys, I can't show it to you guys for anonymity reasons, but this shadow figure has the exact same physique as Jared does, and I can personally tell you guys that from looking at it. Fast forward to a couple nights later, and they're watching a scary movie called Longlegs. As they're watching this movie, all of a sudden, Lexi just passes out. She passes out. She wakes up a couple minutes later, and she has scratches on her body again. And then she starts acting super aggressive towards Tristan. Now, Tristan's tattoo artist is a Reiki, and Tristan is super freaked out at this point, and he wants to get his girlfriend help. So he calls up his friend and he's like, listen, this is what's happening right now. I have no idea what to do. Now, Lexi is normally a very kind and mellow person, but he puts her on the phone with his tattoo artist, and as soon as she gets on the phone with her, she starts calling her all types of names. She starts calling her a bitch, screaming at her for absolutely no reason. This is so unlike Lexi. Then Lexi just grabs a pen and paper and, like a little kid, like holding it like this, and she just starts drawing a picture. And she's drawing a picture of a demon. But guys, I'm sorry, I have to do a part 2 because it's getting to 10 minutes. So I'd rather do a part 2 than make a 20-minute long video. So I will put it up as soon as I can after this one. If not tonight, then first thing tomorrow, okay? Thank you so much. My name is Kaisa. I tell scary stories every single night. So if you like that, hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. Have a spooky night. Love you guys.